Yes, guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show. How are you? How are you doing? Sorry, I'm a few minutes late. I hope you're all happy and healthy, doing the things you love with those you love to do them with. It is Wednesday. It's game day, people. It's game day. Love to see it, or do we? Or do we? Another tiresome affair, no doubt, this evening, but we'll be back for that later on the watch along. Tonight, this morning, though, this afternoon, we have your daily transfer news, views, and clues, your Tottenham update. We are apparently imminent on the man named Souza. So good they named him once. We've also got links to an interesting smorgasbord, a veritable smorgasbord of different players this morning. How about a new goalkeeper? Very interesting goalkeeper. Very interesting goalkeeper. Andre Lunin of Real Madrid fame plays with the 13 shirt. If you go and look him up on YouTube and you see his best bits, all you'll see is there's a video called The Top 33 Saves by Andre Lunin. And of course, if you're just looking at his top saves, he looks like an absolutely world-class goalkeeper. But he's a big lump of a guy. I'll tell you what he can do. He can save a penalty or two. He's very good at penalties, which is something we don't have at the moment. We're linked with him. We're linked with him because he's feeling frustrated. He just doesn't think he's ever going to get a chance, really, like a proper chance at Real Madrid. So we're going to get into that one. We've also got another one from Real Madrid, Brahim Diaz. Unbelievable player, right winger plus left winger, two-footed, legit two-footed player. Scores a bunch of goals, smashing it up in the AFCON. Unbelievable belter of a goal he scored the other day in that tournament. And he's linked with Tottenham. But apparently Arsenal have also, according to reports, put in a big bid for him in the last few days. But I don't know, where are Arsenal going to put all these wingers? Where are they going to put them all? And if they didn't, is there truth to it? It doesn't make sense because they said that they weren't going after Semenyo. Well, Diaz isn't that much cheaper than Semenyo. Diaz is older than Semenyo, I believe, just about. But they walked away from that one, even though Semenyo is an Arsenal fan, to now apparently put in a bid for Diaz. I don't know. But listen, Tottenham Hotspur need two wingers. We need a striker. We need an 8. Everything's a little bit quiet on the 8 front. I've got to be entirely honest with you. Defenders, as I say, we've got Souza links. We've also got more links about players going, more and more links about Fiorentina and Radu Dragusin. We're going to talk about all of that over the next hour, 57 minutes and 10 seconds by the time I finish this sentence. And guys, then you're going to see me later on tonight. But before then, we need to get some admin out the way. Please do. Can you see I popped the spot? It's not done any good, is it? Not done any good at all. I'm going to come and say hello to you lot in the chat in just a second. Big up to you all. Big up to you all. Semenyo is not a Chelsea fan. He's an Arsenal fan. At least that's what I was told. But maybe you're right. I don't know. I don't know anymore. I don't know anything. Big up to you all. Please smash the like button. Please smash the subscribe button if you haven't already. You know the march. We're on the march to 40K. We've had 1,000 new subscribers in the last 6 or 7 days. It's been absolutely insane. So really appreciate all of the support, all of the new support for the channel. Welcome in. And take your shoes off by hitting the subby, hit the notification button. That should be squeezed. Comments should be dropped. And we, sad to see your nosy mate ain't here anymore. He had to go. I want to talk about my spot on my nose. We're going to call him Whitey. I'm sorry, but he's got to go. He's got to go. Big up to you all. Please also drop your comments. Yeah. And also today's video is sponsored by OK Jersey. You know the score. If you're looking for, excuse me, football attire, retro, new, value prices, unbelievable quality. If you're looking for athleisure wear, if you're looking for unbranded but high quality equipment for whatever it is that you're liking to do in your spare time, then you can find it by searching for OK Jersey, guys, and use code Sean at checkout and you get yourself a cheeky little 8% off. Already fantastic prices. So big up to them for the sponsorship. Big up to you for engaging. Let's start off by saying hello. Let's welcome some people in. Let's engage with the trap. My Drew, my club. I take Lunin every day of the week. Big up to you, Drewski. How are you, my man? You look quite aggressive aggressivo in your profile pic. I'm making a new thing to check out people's profile pics. I've got the zoom button going on. You look quite angry in your profile, Drewski. Was that for a passport photo, or were you trying to chat up a girl that was, I don't know, were you on like Bumble or whatever it's called, Tinder, whatever the kids are doing these days, and you saw a bird that you liked and she looked a bit rough around the edges. Maybe she has some tattoos all over her body, and you thought, the only way I'm going to get this one to swipe right is if I look like I'm a bad boy. Because you do. You do look like a bad boy. But it's a pretense, Drew, because I know you. I know all 25 different accent versions of you. You're not a bad boy. You're a good guy. You're a good boy. Good boy, Drew. Good boy. Big up to you, mate. Hope you're okay. Meanwhile, FFP, Man City are signing Semenyo and Gahey, and us effing no one. I am now checking out of this club after 40 years of BS. TTID-V3M. You know you're going to get sucked back in. You know you're going to get sucked back in as soon as the transfer window comes. As soon as we land somebody, whether you know of him or otherwise, you are going to be dancing. Let's be honest. They'll try and make us whole again. They'll fail miserably, but we'll get sucked in anyway. Lunin, Souza, Gallagher, along with a winger, looks a good window, says Samantha. Big up to you, Samantha. How are you? Now I know there's a lady in the house. I will tip my hat towards more decorum than you would usually see from me on Hump Day. Wednesday it is. Imminent, monitoring closely in talk negotiations, ready to bid, but we don't sign anyone. Yeah, do you know what? Normally, my take is always like, guys, it's the 6th of the month. Like, come on. Who else has done any business here? West Ham have done a little bit. That's it. That's it, really, isn't it? It's West Ham have sold a couple and brought a couple. In fact, let's get it up. Let's get it up. Pause. January Premier League transfers thus far. Have we got it? All confirmed. Here we go. All confirmed ins and outs. Here we go. Let's have a little. That's what we're going to do this every day now. We're going to do this every day. We're going to get up this particular screen and we're going to see who has done what. Now, just because there's the context of other people not doing business, it doesn't forgive Tottenham not doing business. That's not the point I'm making, guys. That isn't the point I'm making. In fact, before I bring this up, let me just quickly say to the rest of people, but we are going to have a look, Stian. We are going to have a look. We're going to have a look. Big up to you, though. I haven't seen your name before, so you must be one of the new subscribers. Big up to you. Big up to Michael Watts. Big up to Geeky Boy, one of the main men. In fact, Geek, you should be a moderator. I don't know why you're not. I'll make you a moderator after the show. Rage into the dying, lying, the rage that fuels the fire. What is that a quote from? Is that Shakespeare? I think it might be. Or is it ChatGPT? Because they're both equally plausible, to be entirely honest. Let's find out. In fact, you know what? I'm going to do that right now. Can I copy that? I can't copy it. I can't grab it. Hello, Ozzy. Hello. There he is. I'm back. I'm here. Futures Bright's in the house. Big up to you, Futures Bright. Sully's in the gaff as well. Big up to you, Sully. Fiona, we got 2 ladies in the gaff. Big up to you, girls. Big up to the girls. Here come the girls. Sean just sorting the nose pimple out. That's why he's late. That one went last. It went straight after the show. Straight after the last show. I was like, you! And missed it, to be honest. I miss it. He was my friend for all of you guys. Hello, Stephen Connor. Big up to you. Definitely Main's in the house as well. Big up to you all. Big up to you all. Big up to you. One more time. Looking back on when we first met. Big up. Oh, look, my Stream Elements is actually working as well. Perfect. I was wondering if this was going to work. It is. Oh, it's even giving me how to bot. Oh, that shouldn't be there. There you go. If anyone wants to subscribe to any of my other things, they can do so. There's all the links. We got a couple of super chiddly chit chats. Let's get into the chit chats and then let's get into some business. Let's get into some actual transfer business, whether or not it's happened with us or elsewhere. We're going to lock it in, people. So lock in. Get yourself a coffee or a beer or a cider, whatever time of day it is. It don't matter. It's still January. We got Axitos, who called me a bad fan the other day. Where are your fan shows? Now we have to keep Dragusin and play with a 5-3-2, says Alex. Big up to you, Alex. Alex, I text you, by the way. I text you. You gave me a number. I text you and said, get yourself on WhatsApp. You haven't got WhatsApp. I don't know why. Is that because it's not a thing in Austria? Or is it because you're one of these, I don't know, you're a bit of a hipster, maybe. You're like, I don't need no WhatsApp. I don't need no WhatsApp. But get yourself WhatsApp, and then you can join the WhatsApp group. And then you can get links to more chats to come on and say hello and things. You haven't got to wait until April for the next fan show. I'm kidding. We're doing a fan show on Friday, people. Friday. Big up to you, Alex. Thank you very much for the super chat, my man. In terms of keeping hold of Dragusin, though, look, the guy wants out. Clearly, his agent wants another move. I think that agent will keep pushing for moves because that's the way he gets his 10%. I reckon that agent doesn't have any other real players like Dragusin, and so he's like, I got to really like make hay, you know, got to churn that milk into butter or whatever the phrase is. Big up to my man Roy Viking, all the way up in north of the pole. He is probably in the dark right now, but not in the dark with a super chat. What are you saying? I told them, but nobody listened, including you, Sean. Solskjaer as interim. Move on from Frank. See it through to the World Cup. Then bring Poch home. Listen, mate, you're only saying you want Solskjaer because he's one of your own. You think I am? You think I'm Billy? My name's Billy, not silly. But it's not even that. I wasn't Sean yesterday. I wasn't born yesterday either, Roy. What are we doing here? Solskjaer doesn't want to come to Tottenham. I wouldn't want. Why do we need an interim? What's the point of an interim? We're not going to win any cups. We're not going to get relegated. We don't need an interim. And listen, the board have backed him. The board have said that they're sticking with Thomas Frank. You know? Yes, Alex, I've just seen you. Yes, you said you can send me a private message here. You can. Yes, you can send me I've just seen your is that your name? Unkart. What a name. Big up to you, Roy. I still disagree. You did tell me, and I didn't listen. I did listen. I just disagreed with you. I don't think that Solskjaer, unless you're telling me that Solskjaer as an interim is a link somewhere. Is that what you're telling me? Solskjaer, Tottenham. Is that what you're saying? No. No, that's not what. There's no noise out there that Solskjaer's coming to Tottenham anytime soon. Big up to you, Roy, though, mate. Big up to you, buddy. Thank you very much, mate. Thank you very much indeed. Chewdini's in the gaff as well. Big up to Chewski. Where is he? You know the rules. The first guy to put, or girl who puts in a super sticker gets the choo-choo. Shut up, choo-choo. You only did once. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Big up to you, Chewdini. Thank you very much, mate. Appreciate you so much, Dino. Hope you're okay. Drewzilla, my accent man, my brother from another mama. He says, it's my obligatory drum and bass jungle rude boy profile pic I use for my DJing. Not allowed to look happy. And yes, please let that hot tattooed Ronda Rousey swipe all over me. Ronda Rousey would probably give you, I reckon, bang average sex, but then she'd beat the shit out of you when you like sighed a bit of disappointment. You know, the risk reward with Rousey ain't there. It ain't there for me. You know, it's just not there. She got shoulders that make you like, you be going, wait a minute, I've got to check the Adam's apple as well, because I've not seen shoulders like that too often in the brothels. Well, I mean, pause. I don't know what I say that for. Kidding. I'm kidding, kids. Big up to you, Drewski. Yeah, look, you can also have the DJ and the hardcore DJ and jungle rude boy profile pic. It could also double up on a dating site. It would work, mate. It would work. Get Ronda Rousey all over you. Ronda arousal. Big up to you, Drewski. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you very much indeed. Real Nate 7 says, thoughts on Igor Thiago? My thoughts on him is that he's a very, very good player. I wasn't impressed with him when he played against Tottenham, though, in either game. I thought he was really poor against Spurs in both games. But yeah, he's killing it. He's killing it at Brentford, isn't he? Doing really well. Anyone who gets a hat-trick in the Premier League, you have to take note of. And, he's a very good player. I like him. But he's also, he's only done it for half a season. Like last season, he was injured for the vast majority of Thomas Frank's final season at Brentford. This season, he's getting into it. And he's done really well. But I mean, what are we doing here? People complained about Dominic Solanke. I don't know if you did personally, Real Nate, but people didn't want Solanke, and they said that we shouldn't have spent the money we did on him, 60 million quid or whatever it was, for a guy that's done one good season. And he wasn't sensational last season, but I definitely think that a lot of the goals and the output that Brennan Johnson got were reflected in the input factors of Solanke playing the sacrificial lamb. But I would also acknowledge that I don't think when he wasn't like unbelievable. I feel like when we get him back, though, eventually it will feel like a new player, because in his first season at Tottenham, he was asked to be sacrificial lamb, and thus far this season, he hasn't kicked the ball. So it will feel like a new player when he comes back. But my point being, I don't know why I'm talking about Solanke other than to say, Igor Thiago, if you're going to go and sign him, if you wanted to go and make Brentford an offer they can't refuse, it would be similar money. It would be 60, 70 million. And he has only had half a good season, really. He was very good at Bruges, or Brugge, however you want to say it. But it'd be the same thing. If he comes to Tottenham and he flops, people will go like, why did we do it? Why did we spend all that money on a one-season wonder? I think he's a very, very talented player, mate. And to be entirely honest, there's a lot of Brazilian players that are chomping at the bit to get into the World Cup squad. I think Thiago, it would be cruel if he isn't ahead of, in my opinion, Richarlison in the World Cup squad in the pecking order of the 9. But that's an Ancelotti problem, not a Shawnee Letty problem. Big up to you, Real Nate. Thank you very much indeed. Stano8142 has also come in with big up to you, mate. Thanks everyone. Super generous way to start the show, by the way. Unbelievable. He says, I was at the game on Sunday and a fan next to me thought it was a good point versus Sunderland. There, in a nutshell, is the problem. Frank has brainwashed these fans to accept mediocrity. Well, he would call it context, wouldn't he? Do you know what? I used to be the guy that used to throw around the word context because it used to matter. But now context is just another way of saying the reason why you disagree with me is because you're not seeing my point of view. And my point of view is to dismiss your point of view because of, I'm going to use the word context. It's so overused at the moment. I'm stopping. I've reduced its utility in my vocabulary because it's been overused. It's been overused. It's like Tesla. You used to see a Tesla knocking about and you go, oh, cool. That guy's a bit eco-friendly. He's got a little bit of money. He's thrown some. It's pretty cool. Now every fucking Uber driver's got one, and you're like, you're not cool anymore if you got a Tesla. I don't think the word context is it still has its weight, because people just, like I say, people just use it to say the reason why you don't agree with me is because you're missing out on you're missing the context, and the context that they're talking about is that they're right. That's what it's overused and underused well, in my opinion. But to your point about the Frank has brainwashed these fans to accept mediocrity, he would say you're only looking for the negatives. Think about the positives. Think about the fact we haven't lost in 2 games and 2 clean sheets in 3 and all yada yada yada. That's an argument. But I think he's missing the point, because I think what he doesn't realize about Tottenham fans is that there is an expectation to actually kick a ball. And he's had 30 games, 29 games. I think tonight is his 30th game, 30th competitive game in charge. And we have still yet to see any iteration at all of an on-the-ball philosophy other than hoof it long, press from the front, and try to get a set piece, and then see if you can work some magic. And if you don't get corners, you don't get goals. And that is... that's his philosophy thus far, because, I think he thinks that not to lose is better than not to win. But that's just my perspective. I think a lot of Tottenham fans are starting to get fed up. I think they are. Right? I genuinely would be Frank out. I don't think he's the guy. I've said so for ages. I was never on board with him anyway. I was never not on board with him. I think Mikel, the Polish guy, lovely fella, when he kind of coined the phrase, I'm not sure if he coined it, but when he said a side grade, he was talking about a player transfer, but I'd never heard the phrase before. Is it an upgrade? Is it a downgrade? No, it's a side grade. I think I love the idea, that name. I think it's brilliant. It's a brilliant name for like a meh. And I think that Thomas Frank was a side grade, completely different player. I also think the club screwed up massively, because the one thing they clearly haven't learned at all in the years since the Pochettino highs was that you cannot have any level of continuity if your philosophy pivots in the management and the style of football that you participate in from one to the other. And in Ange Postecoglou, we went from a team that tried to play good football but failed. And then in Thomas Frank, I think we're trying to play not to lose football and for the most part succeeding. And that is a dislocation of continuity. It's a dislocation of philosophy. And so you brought all these players in, and they don't want to. A lot of them don't want to play this football, and it's fucking horrendous. And I think that it's going to be even more problematic to try to convince players to come to be a part of it, knowing that Xavi Simons looks at that and goes, "I'm a ball player. I'm a creative player." You put Xavi Simons in the Ange Postecoglou model, he would have got 5 or 6 goals by now, 4 or 5 assists. We might still be in the same position or worse, or slightly better with regards our league form, our league position. But if the back line, I mean, look, obviously it's a different timeline of reality. If the back line was playing higher lines again, and people like Van der Ven were being asked to continue to do those high line sort of defensive sprints, he would be out injured a lot more. Would we have been able to sustain that with Dragusin not being back until now, etc. Yada yada yada. Who knows? But I certainly think that there would be players in the football club that look disinterested and look unhappy. I think they would at least have enjoy playing it more. And I don't even think the players at the back look happy. Right? That's the thing. If you're a player, big up to you. Thank you very much for the super chat, Stan. If you're a player that plays that's a creative, offensive player, and you're looking at what's being asked of you, and what's being asked of most of the forward guys is to run and press. I've got some quotes here from Thomas Frank to go through. In fact, I'll show you now. We're going to reorder the. I was going to show you the business thus far, but I'll show you this instead. Right, there's a point here. Look at Thomas Frank. This is Thomas Frank's quotes about Randall Kolo Muani, whether he could lead the line for Tottenham. And he said, "I think the challenge is." Right, this is talking about a striker, right? And the context, or the connotation of why we're talking about this is Kolo Muani struggling to score goals, but he's playing well. Richalison doesn't offer very much, but is putting in the output. The conversation should be, would Kolo Muani be scoring more if he was playing in the 9 and also offering more? That's the kind of point that was inferred from the journalist. And he said, I think the challenge is that Richie has worked very hard for us during the games as a pressing player leading the line. He's our top scorer. So he's the guy who has that confidence right now. It's right there in front of you. I hope it is, and you can see it on the screen. Right? That, to me, is a problem. You're talking about our striker and the compliments and the waxing lyrical that you offer is that Richie works very hard for us during the games as a pressing player leading the line and competing. The fact that he's our top scorer is largely irrelevant, because if you played somebody else there, the vast majority of the goals that Richie has scored, okay, yes, the Arsenal goal was top draw, and it was against the run of play, and it was an opportunity. But 19, I think that particular shot had an XG of like 0.02. So he does that shot 100 times or 50 times, and he misses the next 49 of them, right? But that's the outlook. What am I looking for in a striker? I'm looking for someone who works hard and who presses. He's thinking about off the ball stuff. Okay, like, you don't have to. I spent the last few days trying to bring to your guys' attention the data around progressive passes, the squad, the team, the pass completion rates, to make this point that I believe is very strong, that this notion that the squad are not capable of anything more is not true. They were capable of doing more last season, and they achieved it, not necessarily to the outcomes that we all wanted, but in terms of if the conversation is, are these players capable of passing the ball? The answer is yes, because it was proven so for the last 4 years with players like Bentancur. The fact that 13 players last season 13 players had more progressive passes per 90 than all but 3 players this season. It's by design. The fact that Thomas Frank isn't even hiding it anymore. He's saying, not they ever hit it, but the way that he supports Richie, the way that he thinks that Richie belongs in the number 9 is because he presses well. He's thinking about off the ball stuff, right? Anyway, so Igor Thiago, Kolo Muani, Dominic Solanke. If Dominic Solanke is going to come back in and be asked to do exactly the same thing, then we are going to be judging Dominic Solanke once again on things that a striker shouldn't necessarily be judged on as their primary output. It's what are you doing with the ball? How capable are you of creating some magic? Are you going to finish more of your dinner than somebody else? Are you creating opportunities for yourself? Do you have that killer instinct? And unfortunately, it's clear in every press conference, and it's clear in all the data, and it's clear in every single match that we watch as a fan base, that those aren't the same metrics that Thomas Frank is selecting his team on. He said exactly the same thing when it came to Mathys Tel. I'm not sure if that's in the same, if this is in the same commentary here. So here you go. I'll just carry on for the sake of the argument. I'll carry on with the story. Kolo has scored 0 goals in the Premier League, unfortunately, and 0 assists. There's also a little bit of that. This is a continuation of Thomas Frank's thing. So there's a little bit of the fact that he scored 0 goals and 0 assists. I like that Kolo can easily play as either of the 2 wingers. He's done that in the past. And also like a second striker coming in and being close to Richie. There's a lot of good about him. I like with his abilities, the way he drives the ball, the way he's got that little extra pace to go past players and running behind. Maybe he just lacks that little extra confidence of where the things that come off. He had 3 runs with the ball against Sunderland where it's like the final touch, then you are in. Richie, if he got that ball through, it's hopefully a tap in 10 minutes into the second half. Then suddenly you just have that extra bit. So we lacked a little bit from our players. Well, hang on a second. You're saying that Richie was the reason why he didn't get the ball across to the 9 in that particular role, because Richie was playing right winger in that scenario and Muani was playing the left winger that was drifting in. So he's getting held accountable. So Muani's getting held accountable because Richie failed to get the ball across. And when you're looking for positives about Richie, all you can talk about is his ability to press. And by the way, this isn't I'm not trying to come across hard on Richie here, because I think Richie's had his best season for Tottenham. I think he has worked harder. I think his first touch has looked better this year. He has been more involved, engaged. He is happier. But you're not judging the players on the same thing. You're judging Muani on the fact that he doesn't score goals when you ask him to play wide. And you're holding him to account for the reason why he didn't get that goal. But it was Richie's mistake that you himself acknowledges. And then he says, so we left a little bit from our front players. In terms of Mathys Tel, by the way, this isn't the quote. He's basically he's again drawing upon his past successes to remind people of what he's done. He said, in the past, I would work with the likes of Ollie Watkins. He came as a winger. Johan Wissa also came as a winger. He said he's now quite successful striker. So he's taking the credit for their development. And I would too, like, fair play to you, of course. Fair play to you. However, I think there is more, and I said this before Thomas Frank even arrived at the football club. I said, everyone that's saying he's a coach, we don't really know if he is, because we haven't got a basis for comparison. Right, at Brentford, he's been there 7 years. A lot of good players have come in, but they also have that unbelievable value of their data scouting model. What you can look to as a comparison is Brighton, and compare Brighton's managers that came in and that were credited with the successes of players that were brought into the football club and how far they've gone on. Well, then did those managers that went on to other teams have similar success? At Brentford, there is no comparison because he was there for the whole time. At Brighton, during that period, you had Graham Potter is the best example, who was credited for developing Cucurella, for developing Caicedo, for McAllister, and a number of others. They've all gone on to have great successes. Graham Potter goes on to Chelsea, that had a youth academy that was being utilised and nurtured under Todd Bowley. That was the start of the whole youth-centric thing. It didn't work. He went to West Ham. It didn't work. So there's plenty of reason to sit there and say Ollie Watkins might have always just been destined to be a great player. Mbeumo might have always been just destined to be a great player, because we haven't seen any development. We haven't seen any development of any players. I think maybe you could point to Odegaard and see a slight improvement. But if he's sitting there saying the reason, like Mathys Tel's coming into Tottenham as a winger and he might end up as a striker if he stays under my tutelage. Well, in order for you to be able to show us that you can do what you did, if you're claiming responsibility for converting and developing Watkins into the player that you are, and the same with Visser, in order for that to happen, you also have to give players like Mathys Tel minutes. And Mathys Tel is not underperformed this season. He's worked very hard. If he celebrates the hard work and the press of Richarlison as the reason to keep him in the 9, then he should also acknowledge the hard work and the pressing and the dedication to the cause, despite being treated poorly, in my opinion, of Mathys Tel. But he doesn't. Mathys Tel scored the winner against Leeds. He scored a great goal. I think it was against Manchester United. And then he comes into the team against Sunderland, having had a few smatterings of minutes here and there, 3 minutes here, 4 minutes there, where he always looks busy. He doesn't let his resentment towards the way he feels, and I would feel the same, like he's been a little bit sandbagged here. I think he's been a little bit sandbagged. I think that's not unfair to say by Thomas Frank. He comes in, he does a fantastic first half, was one of the better players on the pitch in the first half, and everybody in the second half was poor. And what happens? The question comes in, are you going to reward Mathys Tel with a run of games? Well, on the one hand, you could say that you need players to raise their level. And so the way that they do that is by having, people that need to, what did he say? I'm paraphrasing, but he said, on the one hand, you could say there's an argument to give people a run of 4 or 5 games who need to improve their level, i.e. a dig at Mathys Tel. Yes, but on the other hand, you have to consider the SWOT analysis, essentially the threats of the opposition, which again goes back to this mindset. Last season, I complained that Ange Postecoglou didn't give a hoot about who we were playing. There was no iteration of SWOT analysis. There was no consideration of where we are playing, who we're playing against, game management, the game state. Considered, right, we're in the last 10 minutes, we're 1-0 up. Should we make some changes here? Those are the sorts of things that Micky van der Ven and Christian Romero both have come out and said. And by the way, I put out a short about that Romero changed the tactics, forced the change of the tactics. Way back last year when it happened. I've never had so many horrible comments on a short from people that were Ange fans saying that I was talking absolute bollocks and I was causing strife and I was misinformation. Turned out it was true. Turned out it was all true. Micky van der Ven has confirmed it, and Romero said the same thing. But Ange Postecoglou was never going to do any of that game state stuff. He didn't care who we were playing. We were playing our way of football, which to me was wildly stupid. So I was like, bring in a manager at least. I want the next manager to at least spend some time on the training ground, figuring out a plan A or a plan B, or at least, seeing that they've worked out that we're playing against Manchester United and Dorgu's susceptible to a tricky left footer attacking him, or we're playing against Chelsea and Reece James can't handle the backward sprint. So lump the ball over the top on the transition because he's the guy who has to get whatever. Any iteration of actual analysis of the opposition, show me some of that. And Thomas Frank came in. Again, he wasn't my guy. I didn't really care. I wasn't really au fait with. I wasn't really on board with any particular manager that was on offer to us. Side grades FC. But at least I thought, well, this guy's going to do some SWOT analysis. And he does. He does so much SWOT analysis, but his fear is always about the strengths of them and the weaknesses of us and the opportunities that they have and therefore the threats that we face. He doesn't seem to ever be contemplating where are they weak and how can we take advantage of it. And you can see it in all of his commentary, and that to me is a concern. And I've just gone on a massive 25-minute monologue rant, and that started from a super chat. Started from a super chat, and let me finish. I got to go back to the super chats now, and then I'm going to come back and then and we're going to get into what I actually came on to talk about, guys. Mark Lambert's put in a super chat as well. A super sticker, choo to you, Mark. Thank you very much, my man. I hope Australia. It must be late there, midnight. Is it 12:30 at night? Are you going to stay up late, or are you going to get up early for the game, or maybe you're not going to bother? I wouldn't bother if I were you, mate. If you're in Australia, it ruins your day if you have to have your sleep patterns messed up for something that wasn't worth it. Big up to Connor Ryan, who's become a new member of the show. Big up to you, my man. We are doing a members phone-in show on Friday. I'll be doing a lot more with them, I think. So please come and say hello when we do. Thank you very much, mate. Appreciate your support. Emily J, big up to you, Emily. Got 3 ladies in the gaff today, at least 3. Afternoon, Sean. Just want to let you know that you're the 3rd wheel in my relationship. Fucking hell. Sorry, Emily. I apologize. Who's your fella? Does he quote? Is he watching right now when you've come in? Is he watching this and going, "Oi, Emily"? Are you in a different room? Getting a sly little dig in. I hope you're. I hope I'm not too much of a mischief. I appreciate you, Emily. Thank you very much for your support and to your husband as well. Let me know who he is. I'm gonna check the comments now and see if you reply. Thank you very much for that. Very cool of you. And Ronald Cooper, big up to you, Ronald. My man, Ronald. I think you put in your first super chat the other day. I saw a little notification saying it was your first super chat. I still want to know which one of these 2 people in the chat in the picture here, the EasyJet picture, is you. I think you're the one in the middle, but I also don't know whether you're mates or family with the person next to you. Very cool photo though. Very, very cool photo. Big up to you all. Let's get to the bottom of the chat. Emily, can you feel the chemistry? I don't want to be someone's. I don't want to split any families up. Don't want to do that. What are we doing here? Frank's SWOT analysis is WT only. Yeah, weaknesses and threats. 100%, Jimmy. 100%. What's Futures Bright saying? I've been posting for months. We need a bad boy in charge, proper leader. These young men need someone to show them the way. Excuse me, I've got a itchy nose. 1 second, guys. These young men need to someone to show them the way, and they need a leader. Thomas Frank ain't that man, and that's why I don't want him. Yeah, do you know what, Futures Bright? Like I don't disagree. I think that it's a weird environment, right? I think footballers right now. I've been trying to explain this over the last few days. I've been coming to this conclusion with regards like directors of football and leaders and owners and the board and the manager. There just seems to be like the vast majority of football clubs in the Premier League seem to have conflict between like the various layers of responsibility and accountability at the football clubs. And the only teams that seem to have, wavelength and synchronicity are Arsenal and Manchester City. Liverpool, you could probably throw in there as well for the most part, but they seem to be a little bit disjointed at the moment. And I think that maybe the Jota news with what happened to Jota, that's probably like, really upsetting the apple cart a little bit with the energy at the football club. And then, of course, Mo Salah saying what he did and thinking about the future without him. And then buying a player like Isak with all the kind of toxicity that surrounded that one. It just feels like maybe the reason why there's a little bit of, I don't know, dissatisfaction or a little bit of unsettlement or some chaos there. It's not really because of management and ownership and leadership that are at loggerheads. It's other things. And I think those things are short term and they'll get figured out. But Arsenal for sure and Manchester City for sure have everybody pulling in the same direction. I don't think that exists at Tottenham. I don't think that exists at Manchester United. I don't think it exists at Newcastle. Certainly not at Chelsea, Crystal Palace, West Ham, Aston Villa. Aston Villa, maybe you could make that argument, but I also think that Aston Villa are they're going through their own changes. Like they've just gone from Monchi to the guy from Real Sociedad, who I don't know too much about, but I know that guy is a youth-centric person. He's someone that's like spotted loads of talent ID and been responsible for a lot of the transition of Sociedad. I think it's Sociedad's successes. And he's like a chalk and cheese director of football to Monchi. Monchi was a here now, win now kind of director of football. And obviously Unai Emery is going to be on board that because Unai Emery wants people that are going to be helping him identify players that are going to help now. If Aston Villa are now pivoting towards this new director of football that has a higher likelihood of focusing on, I should be having that up. Sorry. Okay, Jersey. If Aston Villa are now moving to a new ecosystem where their director of football is like more likely to be focusing on finding the kids, finding the youngsters for the future, then is that going to be something that's a source of future potential unrest with Unai Emery? Who knows? But you know, but Aston Villa at the moment feel like a very happy ship, right? They're very they're very much moving in the right direction. I'm glad these things are working. That's cool. I haven't got to worry about putting links in anymore. Make sure you subscribe to all of the different things, or follow me on Spurs Talk Show. I'm also trying to grow the Instagram, guys, the Spurs Talk Show, where all my funny jingles and funny videos and stuff can be found on Instagram as well. So please follow us over there. Big up to you all for the super chats. Thank you for that one, Ronald. Appreciate you, mate, very much indeed. There you go. Follow me over there. Follow me on Spurs Talk, the Spurs Talk Show on Instagram. Right, let's get into some of this. Some of the transfer news, views, and clues, of which there are quite a lot, guys. There's quite a lot today. Let's start with let me get rid of that Thomas Frank interview. I've done that one. Let's start with about a youngster, Callum Oluwesi. All right, some of you may be aware of him. Some of you may not. He's been on the bench a few times. He's played a lot of games for our under-18 team. Very highly rated. And he's a player that apparently Tottenham are about to potentially... I mean, this is actually a really interesting story. Again, Sports Witness. I love Sport Witness, right? Make sure you check out Sport Witness for your daily consumption of Tottenham content or football content. They don't make stuff up, but what they do is they just translate content that's written about teams in overseas journals. And this one has come from Alfredo Padula. Don't know. That's obviously a journalist over in Italy. And it's such a weird, unique story that you kind of give these ones more credibility than you do the stories that are like the same with like Ben Davies to Nice. You know, very random, very, very like unique, and kind of you just feel like no one's going to make that story up. Journalists that just pump out clickbait stuff are not going to think about, I'm going to start, Callum Oluwesi to Torino, right? But this one's interesting. So the 18-year-old has 3 goals and 3 assists in the UEFA Youth League. He has 1 goal in the Premier League 2, and even made it to the bench for Thomas Frank's side against Brentford. In total, he's played 41 times for the club's under-18 side and has 13 goals, mainly as a midfielder, but helping in attack when needed. The young midfielder's time at Tottenham could now soon be cut short, despite his growing reputation. Torino are the team that are looking at him. The Italian side, are about to lose Christian Aslani. Really cool player, Aslani. Very cool. I think he's Albanian, is he? Have a look. Is he Albanian, Aslani? Christian. Yeah, he is, yeah. Yeah. I think he's about to move to Bologna. And so he's an interesting player. Not like Tottenham level, but certainly a good Serie A level player. Who's of interest to Parma. His interest to Parma and Sassuolo. I definitely remember him being linked to Bologna in the summer. They need to sign a replacement for he says the Albanian quickly. Even if Oluwesi is quite young, the Turin club are ready to place faith in his abilities. Initial contact has been made with Tottenham and discussions are ongoing. Torino want to sign a midfielder on an initial loan with at least an option to buy. Spurs' stance over the deal is unknown, but it seems things are progressing. This could be an interesting opportunity for the midfielder, especially if he is in and around the first team at Torino. Spurs would want a buyback clause as protection if they agree a loan plus purchase option. Now, I'm more than happy to see that one happen. I've got no idea of the quality of him, but I've heard really, really good things about him. Thomas Frank doesn't seem to be a guy that wants to be playing too many of our youth. And so we've already gone through a massive loaning session over the summer. We loaned out nearly everyone from our youth team. This guy hung around. He made it to the bench. But like I say, I don't believe that those sorts of things are going to be made up. I don't think they're going to be coming out of nowhere. And so, let him go, put the option in. And look, you never know. I'm not saying he might be the next Nico Paz, but certainly Real Madrid did a brilliant thing by loaning him, or basically indefinitely loaning him to Como, because Como purchased him for a 5 million or something, or 3 million. But every year, Real Madrid have the buyback option, and it basically goes up in an insignificant amount. I think Real Madrid are going to buy him back for something like 8 million euros in the summer, or 9 million euros. And Nico Paz is a player that Tottenham apparently bid 60 million euros for in the summer. And Real Madrid said to Paz, "Don't go. We've got plans for you." And Paz said, "No worries. I'll stay. I'm more than happy to wait for you guys to call me back." So there's a lot of value in that. Loan with an option, but make sure there's a buyback clause that is staggered correctly, just in case he becomes a Ratata superstar star. Let's move on to the next story, guys. Another interesting one, which is coming from, this is a story about Joao Palhinha, that Fulham would consider a move for Joao Palhinha if Tottenham do not take up their option to sign him. There is not yet clarification on his situation, but in recent weeks, sources have become less convinced that Spurs trigger the option to take him on a permanent deal, which is worth £26 million. Palhinha has enjoyed being back in the Prem on loan from Bayern Munich and is keen to remain in England. As such, Fulham will keep an eye on the situation in case there's a possibility to lure him back to the Craven Cottage in the summer. It's unclear at this stage how he would view the idea of going back to his old club, but if Marco Silva remains as boss, it could be something that could be progressed. Let me ask you this, guys. I want to pivot this to you guys. Smash a 1 in the chat if you think that we should be keeping Palhinha. Smash a 0 if you're if you think he's not good enough, or you don't think he's the right guy for what we're trying to do. For me, I think Palhinha is well worth keeping. I don't think it's, certainly keep. I don't want to necessarily trigger the clause right now. I think that if that would piss me off, actually. If Tottenham's first bit of business this summer is to trigger that when we don't need to, madness. Is there any zeros? Lots of ones. Rain says no. Samaritane says 0 as well. Most of you guys are saying 1 skis. I'm on the 1 train as well. Get someone better. Yeah, but you can get someone better for sure. I think that Tottenham need a couple of midfielders. I really do. I also think that Tottenham need a couple of wingers. Like, we still don't know when Decky's coming back. GTA 6 will be out before Decky gets back, I reckon, at this rate. And that's a problem for me. It's a big problem. Also, with now it looks like Kudus is out for months. Season's done. If we don't bring in 2 wingers, season is done. But then, do you bring in 2 wingers and then screw and f off the 9? One winger's not going to do it anymore. One winger isn't going to do it. And so, if you focus on 2 wingers, then that might mean that you can't go and do your business in the midfield that you want to do. And I think that there's an argument to say Tottenham need two midfielders. There's definitely an argument for that. GTA 7 will be out before he's back. Yeah. Yeah. It's something I think that, yeah, I'm glad that you lot all think, for the most part, that we should sign him, or at least keep him. Owen says no. Stuart says no. Magic J says no. There's a few no's, but I think the vast majority of you are on board that, guys. All right, let's move on to the next story. This is an interesting one. This is one that I love to see. This is a ta-ta-ta-ta for what it's worth. Brahim Diaz may not be enjoying the level of continuity. That's the new phrase, by the way. He would ideally want a Real Madrid, but his situation has taken an interesting turn thanks to his performances at the ongoing African Cup of Nations, whilst minutes at club level. This is from Madrid Universal, by the way. His impact on the international stage has not gone unnoticed, according to recent reports from Fageses. We laugh at Fageses when it comes to non-Spanish links, but in Spain, that they actually are worth paying attention to a little bit. Brahim's form at the tournament has sparked concrete interest from several major European clubs. The outlet mentions 2 clubs leading the chase are Tottenham Hotspur and Borussia Dortmund. Both sides are already exploring possible moves, convinced that Brahim could be a decisive player in projects that would place him at the centre from day one. Real Madrid are fully aware of the growing interest and have already made a decision regarding his future. According to the outlet, the club would not even entertain discussions for offers below 40 million euros. I'm fine with paying 40 million euros for him. Absolutely fine with it. He's 26 years old. Let me have a look. Let me bring this up. He's 26 years old. He's 2-footed, like legit 2-footed. It's rare that Transfer Market gives the 2-footed ambipedal acknowledgement. You could make out that Mohamed Kudus is 2-footed. He plays off the right, can play off the left, can play in the 10. He's a very, very talented player. He's got a vicious right foot on him. His shots, I think some of his shots go a little bit awry. Like, he doesn't have that Semenyo conversion where he puts his foot through the ball. Do you remember I said to you guys in the summer, the reason why I rated Semenyo in the summer, I said we should be going after him ahead of some of the others we were linked with, was because this was before he signed his new contract, was because he has the ability to put his foot through the ball and also find the corner. Like most people that try to find the corner of the net, they place it. They hit the ball with the outside of the inside of their foot to kind of curl it. Whereas he just puts his foot through it, and that was accentuated throughout the obviously over the season. We saw more and more of it. Brahim Diaz is another one that does that. When he shoots, he hits the ball clean. He's not quite as accurate with it, but he's not someone that's that takes it lightly. He really does smash the ball. All players are 2-footed, yeah. True. But yeah, listen, I like Brahim Diaz, right? I would. He's not anywhere near my first choice, but he's certainly someone that I would like to see. Again, though, being at AFCON, you know, if they're going to carry on playing and doing, if his team's going to carry on doing well, then you know it's going to be difficult for to see how long is it going to take. I genuinely think that Tottenham will end up being super busy towards the end of the window. That said, guys, I put out a video last night that saying there was an imminent deal for a Tottenham signing, and that is a call. It does look like Tottenham are going to match the asking price for Souza from Santos. I don't know about the rules, whether he can just come straight in, because he hasn't played for Brazil yet. I don't believe he's played for the international team. He hasn't even played a full season, by the way. I think he's played 26 games of professional football. And so it's a lot of money to pay for someone that is so raw, so young. And certainly the kids things keeps coming up. And if you look at what's happening at Chelsea, let me get rid of the, bring myself back to full screen for a second. If you look at what's happening at Chelsea, I think one of their major flaws is that they spent £2 billion, but they spent it all on kids. There really isn't any leaders in that squad. That's why you need a Palhinha. That's why you can make the argument that you need a Conor Gallagher. That's why you could go and get a Leon Goretzka. And people that say, no. Like, even if you think there are better players out there, Tottenham Hotspur don't have any leaders. There's no... When the whistle blows and the game starts and the players across the white line, there's very little the manager and the coaching staff can do. Yes, they can instruct a little bit. Yes, they can be effervescent and energetic and kick every ball like Mikel Arteta does. But really, it's pretty difficult to get instructions onto the pitch. And if things aren't going right, if the game plan goes out of the window because you concede an early goal, or you get an injury early doors, or a yellow card that makes it difficult for a player to play full value, full beans, then the manager has to wait realistically until half-time. And then again, I don't really have that much confidence in what Thomas Frank says in his half-time team talks. At least Ange Postecoglou and Conte and previous managers that we've had have had the ability where you've seen poor first halves become much better second halves, because they have the ability to inspire, motivate, or chastise or critique with a level of I don't know, wordsmith excellence that can get a better reaction. Whereas I haven't really seen Thomas Frank, if I'm honest, I haven't seen Thomas Frank turn the team's performance around from the first half to the second, or even, manage to get a second gear out of them when the first half wasn't that bad. That's something that I'm looking to see, and I haven't seen it. Sean, have you got monetized on? Don't know. I hope so. Have I not? Why'd you ask that? Let me double check. Yeah, I think it's on. It's a weird question. Let me know. Maisies. Where was I? Yeah, so I think you need, like, I don't care if this 19-year-old kid. I honestly don't know. Right? I'm not going to sit there and pretend like I know him. I've watched him on the Y Scout. I've looked at every single piece of relevant footage that I can see on the Y Scout. And to be entirely honest, most of the Y Scout stuff is what you can see on the highlight reel on YouTube. So if you guys are looking at YouTube, you're seeing the same things that I'm seeing. I think that he's a very good crosser of the ball. I think he looks like he runs with his chest up. He's got an open he looks with his head up. So he's got a peripheral vision, which is impressive for a youngster. I don't know if there's rumors apparently that he doesn't track back too well. I don't know about his physicality. I don't know what the standard of football is like in Brazil to be able to compare what I see and whether it's championship level or whether it's like the Belgium league or the German league, or I've got no idea. Well, no idea at all. 1 second, guys. So to me, that is but it is what it is, right? Like Tottenham definitely need a fullback. I personally, you know who I always loved, Nathaniel Brown. I think Nathaniel Brown at Frankfurt is a brilliantly balanced player. I also really like Neco Williams at Forest. I think he is so underrated. He's very right-footed. Sorry, he's very... he can carry the ball with his left foot, but he's quite right-footed, which I think might be a problem if you're looking for a player that can... Like, he can do the job of a left-back with consummate ease. But I think his preferred foot is right foot from what I can see. I might be wrong. Let me double check. Certainly last night when he had a couple of shots against West Ham, he let the ball cut across him and hit the ball with his right foot, which is odd. Yeah, he is. He's a right footer. Yeah. So maybe that's a problem. Maybe that would rule us out. But I do rate Neco Williams. And I think Neco Williams can also play right back, or Neco Williams plays left back for Forest right now, Bobby. You know, he can play right back as well, 100%. Yeah, Williams is right-footed, yeah, 100%. But he is a really, really talented fullback. But I honestly think that I don't really have a problem with Jed Spence becoming a left back, because I genuinely think that he is better at doing the things that we need on the left than he is on the right. And I think I wouldn't have any issues with Tottenham bringing in a right back that can give Pedro Porro a breather. I wouldn't have any issues with it. I know that's not the way Tottenham are going to go, but for me, yes, I know he's a converted right, but I've said that 5 times, mate. What are we saying here? I know, but he can play left back and he plays bloody well. What are we doing here? Fucking hell. Anyway, forget about Williams. We're not even linked to Williams. Santos, for me, is... Souza from Santos is a player... He's obviously balanced. He's obviously left-footed. He can get forward. I don't know about his physicality. He looks like he can like handle the hustle bustle of the Brazilian league, but I honestly have no idea what the standard is. So that's the story. But that's the one that looks like it's the most imminent. That is the one that looks like it's the most imminent. And and that's the. How do you feel about that? Give me your ones and zeros, guys. Ones and zeros. Are you happy if we sign? Obviously not the only signing, but are you happy if we get a signing like Souza tomorrow? Would you be okay with him coming in? 19 years old, left-footed, left back. You know, whether he's ready or otherwise, I'm not sure. Zeros for no. If you are happy, let's smash the one. Ooh. Wowzers. No from Matty Cox. Voided says yes. No. Wow. Chudini's up for it. Sully doesn't know. Matt's already voted. Sean, go get my 18-year-old nephew, Ezra Mayers from West Ham, who is now getting first team minutes. He's left-footed, centre left or left wing back. There's a lot of lefts in there. Who is an elite passer with pace and passes as well. I've never heard of him, mate. Good luck to him. If he's getting first team minutes, that's amazing. Very cool. I'll check him out. Ezra Mayers. Okay. I'll check him out. Good luck to him. No one wants him. Keep Spurs wants him. Mr. Geek's okay. Mark's okay with it. Oh, wow. Vast majority. I don't know what his defending's like, to be honest. User NLC, whatever your name is. Most of the footage that I've seen is about him crossing the ball and getting forward. There's that guy Diouf at West Ham, right? Who's I think he's an unbelievable attacking left back. Defensively, I think he's horrendous. But I think his ability to sprint, run into channels and whip the ball into the danger zone, I think is phenomenal. I think his name's Diouf. But I can't believe nobody's interested at all. Very few of you are interested in Souza. Wow. Fair enough. Well, that's the most likely story right now. So You know, it is what it is. It is what it is. Let's move on to the next story. We got this story about from who's this one from? This is about the lane to the lane and back. I think this is from, but let's have a look, see what they're saying. I think they're going to be talking about other things. A Tottenham boss, Thomas Frank, wants to add an athletic, tenacious box-to-box midfielder to his squad in the January transfer window. I think the story came out yesterday, actually, but Rowan Sengupta is talking about it this morning. They're talking about Conor Gallagher being the main option and also Carlos Baleba. I'm not sure about Carlos Baleba. I don't think anyone should be paying 100 million quid or anything like that for him. It says here, asking price 80 to 87 million quid. I don't know about him. Like, he might be the next Caicedo, but he isn't Caicedo yet. And to be fair, Caicedo wasn't really Caicedo when he joined Chelsea. He took a while to settle in. But for me, Carlos Baleba is a player that, does he improve us? For sure. You know, but I don't know. I just think that there's a lot of the second quarter of this season. He started the season well, but the second quarter he's dropped off a cliff. It looks like maybe he's been distracted by the idea of a move, and I don't know if that's like for a young person. Obviously, you can't, like, it is what it is, right? But if you've got the temptation of a move and you're kind of distracted a little bit by that, and then the move doesn't happen, and then do you sort of let your levels drop? Does that infer some sort of mentality metric that you need to be aware of? You're not going to know people's mentality until they've shown it. You're never really going to be aware of it, especially when they're youngsters, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, whatever. You know, your frontal cortex or whatever it is, whatever it's called, it isn't fully developed. So, you know, we made a massive mistake looking just at the technical levels of certain players in the past, and Ndombele being the best example. And if we are not looking at signs, indications of their mentality, then I think that that's a potential red flag or potential mistake. And I think that maybe the fact that his levels have dropped ever since he didn't get his move to Manchester United late in the summer, maybe that's a demonstration of a guy that's easily distracted. Maybe it's a guy that can't switch back on the focus. Maybe, I don't know. But those, like, to me, that there's no other reason that I can see why he should have, why his level should have dropped as much as they have. So I'm sure he'll be a great player, but I think people should be aware of those sorts of issues. In terms of Conor Gallagher, look, you know what you're getting with Conor Gallagher, right? You're talking about mentality monsters and talking about people that have demonstrated their willingness to work hard, their kind of willingness to fight through bad form and to keep on going. Well, Conor Gallagher's done all of that. You know, Conor Gallagher's done all of that. Right? He went to Crystal Palace. He's been asked to play in several different positions. He was the captain of Chelsea. He's moved to Atletico Madrid. He's settled in. You know, that's a tick, by the way, on just the personality trait. If you're looking for reasons to buy into someone, if you can go overseas, acclimate, assimilate to a new country, new language, new culture, work under a manager like Simone, all of these types of things, and level up, those sorts of things, just like for me, go into the tick column, go into the pro column, 100%. You bring him back into the Tottenham team. Is he like a world-class passer of the ball? Absolutely not. Is he someone that is going to score you 10 goals from midfield? Absolutely not. Not unless there's a massive turnaround in fortune. But is he someone that's going to make sure that if there's a dip in the game state, if there's a need for players to be, brought into line, if there's a professionalism absence at the football club that can be nurtured and worked on, and you need players that have a certain je ne sais quoi, a certain X factor of their delivery of how they handle themselves, how they hold themselves in front of the camera. Do they go out? Is there any problems? Is Conor Gallagher the sort of guy that's ever going to be on the back pages? I don't believe I've ever seen him with any drama. And he's someone that works fucking hard. He's someone that works really, really, really hard in every game. I think Berghvall, for example, would learn so much from him. Like Berghvall was under the kind of tutelage of Decky, in terms of like going to the gym and getting yourself bigger and stronger and bulkier and taking your precious youth seriously, because when you're 18, 19 years old, you think you're going to live forever and your career is going to go on forever. Well, I'd retire when I'm 33. That's my whole lifetime away. It catches up on you quick, right? So a lot of players end up sort of slipping by the wayside. I think that Berghvall could equally learn so much about the actual art of being a midfielder from someone like Conor Gallagher. And I think that value, I think Berghvall's got a bigger ceiling than Gallagher, but I don't think there's anybody to direct him in how to cultivate the what it is that we need. So for me, I genuinely think that I'm not sitting there saying that we can't do better. I see people in the chat saying, "Go get me Barrios," right? Go get me Locatelli. Go get me. Barrios is a baller, BSD. But I love Barrios. He's absolutely unbelievable. I'm not saying that Conor Gallagher's the only person. I'm just saying that of the links we've got, to me, I would be like 100%. I think that is obviously, I don't know about his wages. I think his wages might be an issue, but he's also homegrown. Yeah, look, he can frustrate people. I know a lot of Chelsea fans, and they when he was at Chelsea in the last year, they were like, "Oh, it can be so frustrating at times." But he's not the perfect player. But we're not going to drop 100 Milski. Would he come in as a Chelsea boy? Was family forgiving, all that stuff? I think he would. I think he'd like to come back. I think it would be important for his. Well, if we could get it done now, I think it would help him getting back into the England team potentially as well, or at least in the England squad. Guarantee his performance, his participation in the World Cup. So. Yeah, let's go. Madrid is not selling Barrios. No chance. Yeah. Yeah. Milinkovic-Savic, he's a bit old now. What a player he was, though. What a player he was. I think there's rumours that he might be leaving Saudi. He might be coming back to Europe. So I wouldn't mind that. But he's how old is Milinkovic-Savic now? He must be what, 32, 33? Let me have a look. He was a baller a few years ago. Absolute disgusting baller. Oh, he's only 30. He's only 30. Wow. I'll take him and his brother, the goalkeeper. We've got to talk about the goalkeeper situation as well now. We've got to talk about that. Let me see where I'm up to in my stories. So this is the next story, guys. But anyway, yeah, Conor Gallagher, if there's any truth to that, I'd be on board it. Let me know your thoughts, guys. Let me know your thoughts. We've got a super chat from Dave H. Says, big up, Sean. Nico Williams is a good option. Nico or Neko? We were talking about Neko Williams before. Despite me telling everybody 1,000 times, I know he's a right back traditionally. It's been played on the left. I know that, but I'm just saying, as a fullback, Spurs need cover on both sides. But Nico Williams, the Atletico Bilbao winger, will not leave Bilbao. No chance. He's getting paid 300 grand a week more, and he's on a 10-year contract or something. And Bilbao need him to stay because Bilbao have got that whole Basque thing where they can only buy players that come from or who have played for teams in the Basque region, which obviously filters out, 99% of players in the world. And so when they do have a quality option like that, they have to pay the guy a lot and keep holding him. So I don't think he'll ever leave. I also don't think he's been that great, to be honest, this year. I think he's fallen off a cliff a little bit. But big up to you, mate. Thank you very much for that. Thanks very much for that super chilly chit chat. Where did I get to on my stories? Let me get this one up. Here we go. Tottenham and Aston Villa intensify negotiations. This is from, again, Sport Witness. Again, Sport Witness don't make things up. They just translate people that may or may not make things up. This is coming from an Egyptian website, Win-Win. If you look down at the bottom of the screen there, you'll see the URL, https://winwin.com/ and then whatever that language is. I think it's Egyptian, or I don't know. Maybe there's someone in the chat that can help me. But Tottenham and Aston Villa are ready to make advances. In fact, is Egyptian even a language, or do they just talk Arabic? I don't know. To sign Manchester City's Omar Marmoush in the winter market. According to Win-Win, whose status source has informed them about Tottenham and Villa's interest. The Egypt international has started only 2 league matches for City this year. After an injury he suffered in September has played a part in limiting his game time. Last month, Egypt manager Hossam Hassan insisted transfer links aren't distracting Marmoush at the ongoing AFCON. Spurs and Villa aren't giving it up. It's claimed they are waiting for him to finish his AFCON campaign with Egypt to intensify negotiations, with a hope that they can convince Marmoush to leave Manchester City. The forward has not yet decided anything on his future, and women claim his priority is to continue at Manchester City. His agent will hold talk with Pep Guardiola's side to understand if he can have an important role at Etihad this season. But I don't think he will have an important role at the Etihad this season at all. Yeah, sorry. Oh, dear. Listen, when you're free flowing, what you want from me? What do you want from me? Okay? If you want accuracy, forget it. If you want truth, forget it. You know, it's what we do here. We speculate. We speculate. 1 second. Let's you want to do an Arabic impression? No, I'm not doing that. Not doing that. Get cancelled. Get cancelled today. Let's not made up. Next line Egyptian. Yeah. You guys are coming after me, aren't you? Coming after me. You're holding me accountable. Look, when it comes to Omar Marmoush, I think cracking player. Would love to have him. I don't think Manchester City will sell him because they have no other striker option in a world where Haaland gets injured, unless you're going to play Semenyo there. I don't even know why Manchester City are signing Semenyo. I think they're just signing him because they don't want anyone else to sign him. I think it's one of those things. You know, it's one of them ones. What if Haaland gets injured? Exactly that. So that's the only way I think he's going to get minutes. Yeah, Mido told us to sign Marmoush before City, and he also allegedly told us to sign Salah. Can we get him as a third director of football? Yeah, or maybe we should just look a bit more at the Egyptian talent, you know. But listen, I remember watching Tottenham against Basel years and years ago in the Europa League, and it was away, and I think we lost the game. And Salah played fantastically well. And I said to my dad at the time, well, that guy's going to be crazy good, whoever he is. And it was Mo Salah. So I was on board the Salah train way back when he was in his Basel days. But I told them. They didn't listen. Show. I said it, show. I said it. Top player. Yeah, I don't think that Omar Marmoush is going to come at all to Tottenham. And also, for what it's worth, this idea that we can't negotiate things whilst these players are at AFCON, I think it's Fenerbahce or Besiktas, one of those two. They've already submitted a loan with an option to buy my man Ademola Lookman from Atalanta. They've already submitted that proposal. So they might have to wait until Ademola Lookman gets or Nigeria leave the competition. But the business can still take place. You know? Even a stop clock tells the right time twice a day, 100%. Blind squirrels, they still find the nut. You've never been on a salad train. We don't make friends with salad. Yeah, it's true. Actually, I have been eating a bit more salad recently. Been eating a lot of 5-bean salad. I've found out my 5-bean salad. Langer might still be on holiday, Gibbo. 100%, mate. 100%. Yeah, listen, I like Lookman. Big fan of his. He's scoring goals galore. He's falling out with people galore. Did I tell you the story about? Did I say this to you on yesterday's stream? He had a major. I don't know. He had a major fallout with Victor Osimhen. Hilarious. Right, let's look on to the next story. Where did I get to? They've done this story here. What's this story here then? Here we go. Radu Dragusin is going to drag us into some trouble, is he? Carrero, this is against Sport Witness doing the old translation job. Big up to them. Reported that Tottenham's Dragusin is seen as a key target by Fiorentina. Today's Corriere dello Sport cast major doubts about the move for Dragusin. Tottenham were unlikely to pose too many difficulties despite their reputation in Italy of being difficult to deal with. The issue is that on the screen, by the way? Yeah. The issue is the Romanian international is not keen on moving to Fiorentina. He has concerns about their position in the league, given La Viola are in the relegation zone. Dragusin would ideally want to play for a club higher up the table with AS Roma and AC Milan previously mentioned as suitors. Mate, this fucking guy, if that's true, who do you think you are, Radu? Who do you think you are, mate? Like, you haven't done anything. You ain't done nothing, bro. His agent suggested Spurs were a stepping stone to Real Madrid or Barcelona. You got to get a new agent, mate. Your agent is a donut. You might end up being a top quality centre-back, but you haven't shown nada. You haven't shown anything. You've been injured for 10 months. The second that you're basically fit to get some minutes, your agent starts chiming up again, saying if he doesn't play, we want him out of there. Shut the F up. Who is the agent? I'm sure the agent works for a decent outlet, by the way. I'm sure the agent's not just like a normal guy, like a me or you or whatever. He's not just a normal person, like a individual. He works for something. I think it's called like FS11 or AL11 or something. I'm sure it's got 11 in or 17. Like, basically what I'm saying is there's a number in the name of the company and there's 2 letters, I think, AS or LR or whatever. But they've got a decent relationship with Roma. Like Tottenham have got a decent relationship with CAA Base. Whoever the agent works for, they have a good relationship with AS Roma, which is why the links are there. But this is currently a big problem for Fiorentina, who need to throw some charm his way. Initially, it was thought that Paratici can also can make a move easier, but La Viola are facing new struggle in the deal. In the meantime, Wolfsburg's Dennis Vavro, good player, interesting player, has been offered to them. It remains to be seen if the ex-Lazio player becomes a viable alternative to the 23-year-old Tottenham man. Listen, Radu Dragusin needs to come off his perch a little bit, doesn't he? Florin Mania, that's it, Acadia. Yeah, Florin Mania. He works for I'm sure he works for some company called, like, maybe someone can look it up and put it in the chat. I'm sure it's like 2 letters and 2 numbers, and I'm sure they've got like a CAA-based type relationship with an Italian club, but I forget which one it is, to be honest. Let's move on to this other story about this. This is the one we wanted to show you guys. Is it still on the screen? Yes, it is. Goalkeeper. Real Madrid goalkeeper Andre Lunin is emerging on the radar of Tottenham Hotspur. We can reveal, though they could well face competition from 2 Premier League rivals who are also tracking his signature. The Ukraine star is highly regarded at the Santiago Bernabeu, but number 1, Courtois, shows few signs of bowing out. He's 33, but was handed a new 2-year deal last summer and is on course to remain at the club. 26-year-old Lunin has been with Real since 2018 and has been the number 2 since 2021, following loan stints at Leganés, Real Valladolid, and Real Oviedo. Leganés is where Yan Diamandi went before he went to RB Leipzig. Despite his huge promise, Real can't offer Lunin any sort of regular minutes. Brighton and Hove, sources have confirmed to us Tottenham have been made aware of the situation, but they're not alone with a number of sides across Europe keen on Lunin. Brighton and Hove Albion, who could lose Bart Verbruggen this summer, and Forest are understood to be keeping tabs on the situation too. Look, Forest have got Sells and they've got, is it John Victor or Victor John? I never know which way around that guy's name is. The Brazilian guy came from Botafogo. Brighton and Hove Albion no doubt will have another kid coming through. Verbruggen is a goalkeeper I would take. And by the way, I've taken a look at this fella. I'm going to show you his stats. The goalkeeping stats are easy to look through. There's very little to go on, right? But he's. I think at one point last year, Lunin was statistically had the highest shot, the best shot stop, the title of the best shot stopper in Europe because of his clean sheet percentage and his frequency of keeping the ball out. He's very, very good. He doesn't do very well from corners, or at least that's what the stats say. I've seen a highlight reel of his, and his highlight reel looks great. Uses his full body. He's a big lump of a guy. Good at penalties. He can smash the ball clean. He also gets stuck in to out. Like he comes out of his box to participate. Here we go. It says it here actually. I think post shot expected goals. No, that's what I'm looking for. Where's the thing I'm looking for? Where is the thing? Oh, there you go. Defensive actions outside the penalty area, 1.6 average distance of defensive action. So he comes and clears the ball, 1.6 times a game if Real Madrid get converted on or transitioned on when he has played for them. Looks like a decent goalkeeper, a big lump of a guy that can also get down and athletic. I honestly don't know too much about his footwork. And I also don't know too much about his ability to come and claim corners with confidence. He looks like the sort of guy that would be able to do it. But I'm not saying he's bad at corners. I hear you, Borussia. I like that name, Borussia Teeth. I bet you that's your FPL name as well, isn't it? Borussia Teeth. Very good. It doesn't necessarily mean because he doesn't do it that he's not good at it. It might just mean that Real Madrid don't face too many corners against when he's played. And therefore, he's not claiming too many of them. Who knows? Why sign Lunin instead of giving Kinsky a chance? Let me ask you guys this. Right now, would you... Was it? There you go. I thought it might be. Yeah. Good man. Right now, would you rather see Kinsky in goal or Vicario? I'll be interested on this one, actually. Hit a 1 for Vicario. Hit a 0 for Kinsky. If you'd like to see a run of games for Kinsky, 0. If you want to see, what's his name, Vicario carry on, then hit the 1 button. And hit 2 if you don't rate any of them. So Kinsky, Vicario, Kinsky, Vicario. It's a bit split. Yeah, split. I don't think that many people are that like in love with Kinsky either. That's the thing. I don't think Kinsky sort of grabbed the ball with both hands necessarily. Pardon the pun. Grab the ball with both hands. But yeah, that's that. So and Andre Lunin is also linked to us, and that is interesting. The last one for you guys is Suleiman Sani, the Nigerian talent. I think he's out at the AFCON as well, doing well. I've spoken to you guys about this guy back in the summer. We were linked with him. 19-year-old who plays out in Slovakia for a team called AS Trenčín, who are 10th in the Slovakian league. So, the standard isn't great. The standard isn't great at all. And the player is he's played 12 times for them, 3 goals and 2 assists. So 5 GA in 12. But he's only started 44% of games, right? So he hasn't played that many games for them. He's a left winger. His valuation is something pathetic, like £1 million or something, according to Transfer Market. Look, he looks like he's got unbelievable pace, but the story won't go away. It's been there today. It's been knocked around all the aggregators. It's knocked around on Twitter. It was heavy in the summer for a brief period. And I'm like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? You're not going to impress anybody by signing a £1 million player from Slovakia. Again, he might be a great player. Maybe he'll be someone that in 5 years or 3 years' time we go, we will link with him in 2025. Playing Monday morning quarterback. But he'd say for 6 million, I wouldn't mind signing him and loaning him out like we've done for Heung Min. But as a first team signing, it's a piss take. Yeah, listen, I'm fine with that. If it costs £5 million or whatever, bring him in, loan him out, see if you get your money back, whatever else. But don't certainly don't bring him in as like someone coming for the first team. Absolutely no chance. No chance whatsoever. But I don't want to deal with that shit right now. Like, if we're busy spending time negotiating with Trenčín, the Slovakian team, about a 19-year-old Nigerian kid who's only got in half the games for them, then what are we doing? We need to be focusing on things that affect the first team right now. Did Mossad shut down the rabbit hole ramblings? I hope not. No, it's still there. It's still there, mate. It's still there. I've just, I haven't had the energy, man. Like, because the rabbit hole usually goes on at 9 o'clock, and I've taken a few weeks off from it, 2.5 weeks off. We are going to get it back. There's so much to talk about in the rabbit hole world. we're going to get into that. Guys, if you are interested in conspiracy and stuff, then you can find the link. The stream elements link is there somewhere for Rabbit Hole. Please give us a subscribe over there. What's Foxy saying? Big up to you, Foxy. He says Sani Suleiman played in the Under-20 World Cup. Flattered to deceive, honestly. Did he? Oh, there you go. There you go. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. And I'll tell you what else we're doing, guys. Tonight at, I don't know, what time is the game? The game's at 7:30. I'll go live about 6:30, something around there. We'll be live for the watch-along, which is always fun. And then we've got the post-match show. We've got a couple of people coming on for the post-match show. I'm sure it'll be lively if we lose or if we draw, if we put in a stinker, if we win. You know, I'd love to see it. I don't see it happening too much. But, the rabbit hole is going to come back, Borussia. The rabbit hole is going to come back very soon. Very, very soon. We are out of here right now. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone for the attention. Please do smash the like. Please do smash the subscribe. And as I say, I'm sure you've seen all my socials on that are on the links. Just looking at those zeros and ones, most of you don't really don't really care about either of our goalkeepers. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you, guys. I'll see you this afternoon in a few hours for the next show. And look forward to seeing you tonight for some more Tottenham debauchery. Appreciate everyone. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, bye.